This is James. If you want a successful business that really sustains you over time, that business has to address really fundamental needs that people have. And when I look at the way people are doing a lot of their marketing, either online or offline, particularly online, I find often that it really fails to meet some fairly simple and not often discussed attributes. So I was, prompted today to see this very interesting blog on the 5 fundamental human desires. So these are 5 fundamental things that will influence your fans and your followers and result in your conversion rates being higher and the satisfaction that the people that you're working with and your own satisfaction being higher as well because you're actually meeting the real needs that people have. So let's talk about that. But while you're here, if you stick to the end, I will tell you about how to get a free 10-minute traffic machine course from an 8-figure. I did say 8-figure earner. Yeah, an 8-figure earner. So I'll tell you about that at the end. And if you like this kind of update on marketing tips on the internet, we'd be glad to have you subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up to date with what we post. We do normally a couple of these every week, and as needed, but when they come up. And this is a review of a blog from Andrew Dran, who's with Elite Marketing Pro, and so he's going to give us this rundown of the 5 fundamental human desires, and I think it's a really smart approach. You probably heard the argument, in the California gold rush, you had, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people rushing to California, and only a few of them hit it big with gold. But a lot of people who did hit it big were the people who sold them the tools. And what made it possible for those people to become wealthy selling the tools instead of going and doing the gold mining is that they understood that people had needs and made plans to meet those needs. So those basic fundamental human desires are very important. You want to be one of those people that figures out what your audience, who is your audience, and what your audience wants. That's very important to you. If you're just shooting in the dark, you're missing out on a lot. And as Andrew mentions here, who really makes money during a gold rush? It's not the little guy that of course, potentially that happens, but it's the people who strike it rich are the people who serve the people who are out there doing that work. And so, you use the example of Levi Strauss, who made jeans for the miners, right? That's how Levi Strauss got started. They just sewed together some tough cloth that people could wear while they were mining, and it became the thing that you had to wear, right? So that's how you make money, basically anytime. You always have to have clients to serve when you're building an affiliate marketing, direct sales, network marketing business. But we think we know what people want. We think we know how to serve people, but we haven't actually put ourselves in their shoes. We're only just thinking what we think. We haven't actually put ourselves in their shoes, and that's really one of the main things. We're talking so much about compensation plans and products that sell themselves, and the massive upside, and we do a lot of things in the space of cryptocurrency. So don't be left out, fear of loss kind of things. And there's a lot of things that might float people's boat, but now pay attention, because we're going to talk about 5 really essential things. And there are ways that you can identify with these things and really make your messaging and your whole approach to building a business and selling a product or a service, if you're doing that, much more effective. So let's talk about these 5 fundamental human desires that we all share deep down. And here's just an absolute massive one that we don't talk a lot about, but it's security. And people will, kind of poo-poo security, but they respond to it like crazy. I mean, it is the big one. People have a huge, deep need for security. So he talks about the hierarchy of needs, but basically, it's kind of hard to argue with that. If you people prefer to have things constant and secure. There's people that get off. I know somebody who's a thrill seeker, and he'll get bored and move on, and he gets a real charge. He can't stand any business that doesn't almost make him go bankrupt occasionally. But he's probably the 1 or 2%. Most people, and that's most people, even including our entrepreneurs, are looking for security, and so that part of it, you want to be stress free. But if a product can deliver security, whether it's psychological security or interpersonal security, financial security, there's a big one for you in like our cryptocurrency space where we do a lot of things. Financial security. So maybe you're tapping into an argument or an idea that you can get ahead of the digital economy by latching onto the digital currency and maybe making up for your mistakes. Maybe you are financially insecure. Maybe you can make up for some of your mistakes by taking advantage of the rise of the cryptocurrency and getting extra growth. Maybe you don't have money to buy cryptocurrency and you want to get in, so you offer a system where you can earn Bitcoin even if you can't afford it. So people are willing to exchange time for money, for Bitcoin, and give themselves a start. There are people that are quite willing to do that and feel insecure that they've been left out or don't have. Another big one is right now. Huge one is retirement for people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. The people that have not properly planned for their retirement, and then suddenly the bell rings and the light goes on, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to have to work when I'm 85 unless I do something now to really fundamentally change things." He makes the example here of a company that actually has made security its hallmark, and that's Volvo. In fact, my wife Grace and I were talking about cars earlier today for some reason, and we were talking about major brands: BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and Volvo were in fact the four that we were talking. Oh, and Jaguar. So we were talking about 5 of them, and we were watching some video comparisons of different models and blah 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 blah. And it just struck me time and time again, the value proposition as you listen to these interviews from Europe or the United States or Canada, or I watched some of South Africa, the UK, all different takes, but the same thing comes across about Volvo all the time. It's safe, it's secure, it's well engineered, etc., etc. And it's a company that claims to make the safest cars in the world. They're not the sexiest, they're not maybe the best engineered necessarily. And it's less popular than the BMW, the Mercedes, the Audi, the Jaguar, but it's got a really nice niche for itself by focusing on security. Now, there's a lesson to be learned there, focusing on security. And a lot of what we're doing in terms of our messaging could really be focused just on that main fundamental desire, financial security, personal security, retirement security, that kind of thing. It's arguably the number one desire that people have. I'm going to say that again. It's arguably the number one desire that people have. Don't you think that if you could tap into that, I mean, legitimately, we're talking about legitimately. This is not hype and so forth. It's legitimate. If you're able to tap into that, you can really make your message resonate with people. They'll feel a vibration, even one that they don't necessarily understand. So try to tap into that. Another one, and I don't particularly like this one. My wife understands it better. She's been in the fashion and been an image consultant, so she understands prestige. To me, I've never really cared about this part of life, but in fact, it drives me nuts. I don't like it. But people care a lot more about prestige than you might think. Everybody likes having nice stuff, and we know they're willing to pay a whole lot more for things that have a brand. I mean, just think about Apple. Got an Apple phone. It costs 20 or 30% more than the a phone that pretty much does the same stuff, and sometimes even better. But you pay 20 or 30% more because it's Apple. Of course, it has the ecosystem, yada yada yada. But there's that. And then there's all the brand stuff. And whether it's cars. We were talking today, and in Chinese culture, Grace was telling me, out of all those, the BMW, out of all those cars, BMW is like, whoa, you've really arrived, maybe even more than Mercedes for some reason, but you've really arrived if you've got the BMW. So people, if you talk about Audi, which might be a better car, Volvo, which might be a safer car, but oftentimes some of those are a little bit better than the BMW, but the BMW as a status symbol, does something. And people are just prepared to pay way more to get what other people want and envy. And, there's a lot of science behind that. There's exclusivity, quality, uniqueness. But, if you've got a brand type product, use that, for goodness sake. Take advantage of that and sell that. Makes people want to buy more of a product, and so just whatever, if it will improve their self-image or their social standing, they will want it. So how does that come across? So something is cool or trendy, and you can make a lot of things. You can make certain health trends trendy. You can make cryptocurrency trendy. You can make a lot of things, make it kind of hip and desirable and prestigious. So there's that angle. So just be thinking about that one. That's another big one. Novelty, so the original, and we like new things. New. This is the new. This is the new. New. This is new. It's such a cliche, but it works. And again, just like Apple, they make fun of the like the old Apple IV, which was not at all new. Actually, it was not as good as the Apple III, but they said it was new. It sold a bunch of Apple phones, and they even admitted it afterwards. But and he says, who hasn't bought some silly fad product just because it seemed cool at the time, or am I the only one who walks around in Crocs and a Snuggie? So hope that caught a couple of you. Anyway, you don't want to mislead people about what's new. Don't say it's new if it's not, obviously. But if you've got something new, yeah, take advantage of that one. And just remember, you don't just kind of generically tap into some of these fundamental needs and you'll do very well. Experience. Now, people love to have new sensations. Speaking of new experiences and sensations and feelings. And so there's a physiological part of it, there's a physical part of it, but they like to share those experiences. And so there's a touch, smell, taste, hearing, sight, and then it's kind of experiential. But you can do a lot in the world of experiencing things, even if you're building an online business. You can have webinars where you have personal contact. You can have a group experience, Facebook groups and so forth. You can have events that you go to. You can celebrate people's breakthroughs and successes. You can have people tell stories. There's a big one. Have people tell stories so that they experience an emotion. And if they can experience one of the three things that we already talked about, right? One of those other emotions, if they can experience someone else's sense of security, if they can experience someone else's sense of prestige, if they can experience someone else's sense of, all the things we're talking about, then that's a double bonus, right? And then connections. And this kind of relates to the fourth one, the experience. But connections are huge. And he talks about Maslow's top three needs: self-esteem, belonging, and self-actualization. They're all about how we perceive ourselves and how other people perceive us. And you got to think about whether you've got a product that provides a connection. The crypto gang, the health gang, the whatever product or service you're trying to get across. There's the more you can make a community out of that community is really important. So again, as he says here, all it takes is a Facebook group here, not to be flippant about it, but all it takes is a Facebook group, some newsletters, some informal events from time to time, and you'll make the people you work with and your prospects feel connected. And so, thinking of all 5 of those things, what do your prospects desire? So that's the big question for you and for me. Had me thinking about this today. And this is why I constantly review these kinds of blogs, just to be, always reminding myself what are the important things to focus on. So we've covered the 5 things that really hardwire everybody. And so now think about how to apply that to your individual industry. So something that's new is in one thing, it's in autos. In dating, it's another. In weight loss, it's another. In cryptocurrency, it's another. So people beat up that new idea quite a bit. But just figure out what people are dreaming about. What are their dreams and aspirations? And then don't put it in your own context. Don't think, what are my dreams and aspirations? Think about the people I'm trying to reach. What are their dreams and aspirations? And there's going to be different groups. Millennials are going to be different than baby boomers, obviously. And you can appeal to both of them, but how you reach and message them would be different, obviously. So you got to know how they describe their desires, and then do marketing campaigns that address that. So that brings us to the special offer that I got here for you, because there's a workshop. It's 100% free. It's a traffic workshop called the 10-Minute Perfect Prospect, and what it'll do is help you to narrow down a niche that you're going to address and identify as the lucrative niche in your industry that you could focus on and be competitive, and know that you're reaching a specific group of people, no matter how competitive your market is. There's a lot of different ways. Give examples. You might be a single mother. You might be a divorcee. You might be, whatever your particular angle and experience. We all have individual things that kind of characterize us. So you can also call out to people that are in your same experience realm and make what you're doing. Now, I'm not contradicting what I said earlier. Don't make it about you, but put yourself in their shoes. You know what you went through, so you can identify with them. Now think what they want and need that might have been different than what you want, but your experience, you could also plug in experience, share your experience, and make that relevant and identifiable. So Tim Irway, who's an 8-figure earner, he's the one of the founders of Elite Marketing Pro. He's the CEO at Elite Marketing Pro. All you have to do is register for it. It's the links on this blog page. He'll show you how to narrow down and identify that kind of niche, no matter how competitive your market is. And he's brilliant at this. I've sat through, VIP workshops with him. Tim Irway he's called TJ. He's so low key and kind of mellow that you miss how clever this guy is. But he's taken a $10 test campaign and turned it into over $140,000 worth of sales. Could even a small percentage of that help you? You bet. So this is a guy that really knows what he's doing. So all you have to do is pick a time and you can register. There's a link right here. Actually, you can do it right here, or there's a link at the top. I'll show you that in a second. Those are real numbers, by the way. I've seen the statistics. So if you've not registered for that, just pick a time and you can attend Tim's workshop. I would recommend that you, if you're interested in this, think about these 5 fundamental human desires. Write them down. Read the blog. After you watch this video, read the blog here. You can see it. And then, if you like, and there's no obligation to that, come back and just click on the blog. It's below here on YouTube. Just click here on the 10-minute traffic machine. You can register. You choose a time, and you can get more ultra-targeted traffic and super high-quality leads in just 10 minutes a day. That's a skill set that you would really find valuable. And so I trust this has been useful. Again, if you find these updates and this kind of training to be useful, then give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date. And we'd be glad to talk to you on additional ones. Read the blog, register, get on Tim's free traffic workshop. You'll be glad you did. Okay? All right. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.